Hello and welcome to the ThePreGameNetwork News Hole, a series where we recap a few things we heard throughout the week. Not necessarily everything and all the big news you'd expect, but a few things we heard and thought were interesting. This episode is for the week of January 12th, 2025. Let's get started. It was an eventful week for Nintendo as they officially revealed their next console, the Switch 2, on Thursday, January 18th, in what was arguably a forced advertisement that came after weeks of product leaks. The brief video focused on displaying the new hardware, showcasing a larger display with thinner bezels, USB-C ports on both the top and bottom of the console, magnetic Joy-Cons with enhanced function and durability, and a full-width kickstand for better tabletop mode. Also showcased was the ways in which the console would be similar, with docking functionality, similar accessories, and backwards compatibility for both physical and digital games. During the video, a new Mario Kart was also teased, hinting at new designs, new mechanics, and an enhanced scale of tracks and races. The video concluded with an announcement of a Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, which will air on April 2nd of this year. Meanwhile, during all the excitement of their announcement, Nintendo's official customer support account issued a public warning to all players that they had, quote, confirmed the existence of unauthorized services that replace functions such as online play for the Wii U, and asked players refrain from using them, saying they may pose unexpected security risks. The service this was likely in reference to was Pretendo, a replacement for the Wii U online services that ended in April of 2024. Based on the service's non-commercial and preservation-focused nature, it's likely that Nintendo realizes that they have no real legal standing, or at minimum realize that going after it is more trouble than it's worth. Whether that changes or not, time will tell, but as for this service, and the Switch 2, that's all there is to say for now. Throughout the week, Sony announced cancellations from multiple studios and IPs under the PlayStation Studios umbrella. The projects included a new IP from Ben's studio, known for Days Gone, and a live service game in the God of War series developed by Bluepoint Games. These cancellations follow the termination of other projects, such as Naughty Dog's new multiplayer entry for The Last of Us, and an online live service Spider-Man title from Insomniac, which had several years of content planned. The series of cancellations highlight struggles from Sony and the industry at large in their efforts of creating long-term, profitable live service games on a large scale, with Sony being one of the biggest contributors of this push, something that led to the purchase of Destiny publisher Bungie and Concord developer Firewalk, aiming to bolster their existing catalog while readying to launch multiple new live service games, most of which have since failed, degraded, or been cancelled, peaking with the catastrophic failure of Concord, which had a budget in the hundreds of millions, but sold under 30,000 units before closing just 12 days after launch, something widely considered a key factor in this strategic shift. However, Sony's not quite done yet, with remaining live service initiatives on the horizon, upcoming competitive shooter Fair Games, which has seen its marketing pivot away from live service elements since earlier failures, and Marathon, an extraction shooter reboot by Bungie that has not met with much enthusiasm or demand. Regardless of how these two end up being received, things are bleak for aggressive live service initiatives in video games, something your average player is likely relieved to hear. And now, some smaller stories from throughout the week. While Sony was dealing with its live service reckoning, Warner Bros. Games saw their own attempt to meet a messy conclusion, with the 2024 Arkhamverse entry Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League ending abruptly 9 seasons early, concluding with a hastily produced story summary and a low-quality animated comic. Whatever their initial plans were, the development and release of the game thoroughly squandered the goodwill and reputation built up over 15 years by the original Rocksteady team with its successful Batman Arkham trilogy. Delivering a content-confused game initially focused on loot boxes that awkwardly transitioned pre-release to a live service model featuring daily challenges and battle passes, while the narrative was equally muddled due to outsourcing to the notorious activism-driven consultation company Sweet Baby Inc. While Warner Bros. Recently said that Batman has a major place in its gaming plans going forward, it remains to be seen where Rocksteady and the Arkhamverse go from here, as the studio, which bled talent throughout and after its development, is unlikely to recover. The Liberty City Preservation Project, a mod that recreated the entirety of Grand Theft Auto 4's playable map into Grand Theft Auto 5, was shut down by Rockstar Games and its parent company Take-Two on Wednesday, January 15th. Development of the mod started in 2018, and while there was no real gameplay content to speak of, it had the goal of seamlessly adding Liberty City, its vehicles, its NPCs, and other assets of Grand Theft Auto 4 into Grand Theft Auto 5, making it fully explorable. The exact nature of the takedown is unclear, although it appears that Rockstar contacted the team directly, and members of the team came out to say no legal action was taken and that the interactions between them and Rockstar were friendly with no negativity. The team concluded their statements by discouraging potential players from seeking the mod out on unofficial sources, and that they were excited to continue pursuing their passion of modding the Grand Theft Auto series, signaling that no one involved has learned anything from having 7 years of work scrapped overnight. Fortnite kicked off its festival Season 7 on Tuesday, January 14th, with music and cultural icon Hatsune Miku as the headliner. The Vocaloid joined the game with a selection of tracks chosen more for their recognizability than for what her dedicated fans might prefer, and the juvenile Fortnite community, quick to embrace new characters as if they've always been fans, celebrated this edition with contrived enthusiasm. Meanwhile, longtime admirers of Miku and enthusiasts of internet and music culture from past decades lamented the superficial attention from the mainstream audience. As Fortnite remains in service, it will continue its tradition of introducing often shallow representations of beloved characters, and true fans will find themselves waiting patiently and anxiously for waves of trend chasers to move on to the next thing. As for the current thing, that would be Hatsune Miku. And that does it for another week of the Pre-Game Network News Hole. If you encounter anything you'd think we'd find interesting throughout the following weeks, send it our way. Thank you for listening. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.